Well, hey guys, it is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur. It is great to be with you. First thing I want to announce to you, we had been with StreamYard for many, many years. And unfortunately, when StreamYard got started a long time ago, it was started by two great guys, and that was fantastic. But the unfortunate part was that they did have to sell the company. And they said that when they sold the company, that nothing would change, everything would be exactly the same. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, it wasn't. Then it got worse. Then they sold it to somebody else. Now it just got sold to a company in Milan. And as you guys know, I travel and I could not get logged into StreamYard. And for a couple days, I was having to record and then bounce things back to the office. It was just nuts. And the company, which is now called, I think it's Bending Spoons or something, they also own Meetup and a few other things. And their support is basically non existent. It's like, it's not there. And so I have to tell you that I decided that we were just going to drop them and not use them at all because it was, when I say terrible, it was terrible. So we are with Restream. Very happy to be with them and looking forward to a lot of great streams here and a lot of great things we're doing. So just wanted to, again, let you guys know what happened to us. We are also going to be no longer streaming on Twitch. The level of quality, the people we were getting was just not there. And we were getting a lot of, let's say, content that was not appropriate. So we decided to just pull out of Twitch. So we're no longer going to stream to Twitch. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I am John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It's always a privilege, pleasure, and honor to be with you guys. We're on our master topic, as you guys know what that is. Breaking is beautiful, right? And tonight's granular topic, by the way, thanks for being with me, whether you're with me at 8:56 p.m., 8:56 a.m., 3 a.m., 3 p.m., 6 a.m., 6 p.m. It doesn't really matter. Thank you so much for being with me. Really do appreciate that. And the topic, ladies and gentlemen, is Shattered but Stronger, Series 3, Show 38, Episode 4. And so, our very first that I want to announce here is the first part of that topic I want to announce is acknowledging hardship. Acknowledging hardship. So, when we think about acknowledging hardship, you know, it's something we might not want to talk about, but hardship helps us become a better version of ourselves. I mean, that's absolutely the truth. It helps us to become a better version of ourselves. And I think you guys will definitely appreciate what I have to say here. So it's okay to admit when we're struggling because this is the first step to rebuilding. You know, once we acknowledge that and know that we're having a challenge, then we can just grow and we can become a lot better. By the way, do check out my hat believemeachieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations. And notice there at the top left, for those of you that are joining us live, you can actually see the QR code. You can scan it. It just goes to believemeachieve.com, and you can get all of my amazing, inspiring creations. All right. So, talking more about this, I want to talk about the next point, which would be to think about something that's interesting, which is embracing vulnerability. Now, we talked about vulnerability before, but this is a little bit different. All right. This is a little bit different in the sense of vulnerability. So, what I'm talking about today is true strength because it comes from when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, when we allow ourselves to be okay with the fact that, we're not perfect, which we're not. We want to practice getting better, but we're never going to be perfect. We always want to get better and better and better. I think that is one of the most important things that I want to say to you guys. And so when we think about, this whole concept, it can be daunting for a lot of people. I got to be honest with you. It can be very, very daunting. So thinking about this is really wild. And vulnerability is not something to be scared about. It's something that we can learn from and we can grow from. All right. I think that is a very, very important thing, ladies and gentlemen. And the next point that I want to talk about is resilience through adversity. Resilience through adversity. So when we think about resilience, right? We've had guests on the show and we talk about resilience, but so every challenge is an opportunity to build resilience. You want to just keep pushing forward. Maybe things are not exactly the way you want, but the good news is that when you weather the storm, you know, the rain and the wind and the lightning and the thunder all goes away and we actually have a beautiful world with the sun. They always say, once the rain comes out, the sun will shine someday, right? So that's very important to understand. And so, really, resilience is a mindset, ladies and gentlemen. It is a mindset that will help you to really embrace the true person of who you really are. And moving along here, I want to talk about the next point. Breaking is beautiful. And we're talking about, again, today we're talking about shattered but stronger. So, the next thing I want to talk about is finding strength in weakness. Okay. Because there is a lot of strength in weakness. You might think, hey, if I'm weak, it's not going anywhere. But here's the thing: it's a hidden gem. All right, because our greatest strengths often emerge when we're weak, when we're not able to do something, and we're able to cultivate our own inner power. Okay, our own inner power, and I think that's something that maybe you don't quite get, but hopefully something that you will embrace and something that will empower you. All right, empower you to be just a little bit better than you were before. So I think that's a very important thing, is to just be empowered. All right. So being empowered is not hard, but it does take some understanding and knowing that, again, strength comes from when we're at our lowest point. That lowest point helps us to dig deeper and figure out, hey, why isn't this not working? Right. And we look for solutions to our challenges. So that's a very, very important point, ladies and gentlemen. And, it's something that a lot of us go through in life. The next thing I want to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, is the power of healing. The power of healing. So when we think about healing, all right, it's a transformative process because we go from one stage to another stage. Maybe it's unhealthy to becoming better, to becoming more healthy, to becoming very healthy. But it is a transition. It doesn't happen from A to B, right? Just like people don't go from being, perfect weight to being overweight overnight. No, it's a process, right? It's a process that actually happens. And I think you guys can hopefully appreciate that because this is something that a lot of people don't realize, but it's something that I think a lot of people will pretty much enjoy because this is something, ladies and gentlemen, that I think a lot of people, they get a little fearful of it and they don't necessarily know how to heal. And healing is not always about health. It could be healing with relationships. It could be healing with a lot of different things. So healing comes from the fact that we want to get better. Okay. And better, like I said, could be relationship, could be financial, could be our own well-being, could be our actual health, but it doesn't have to be our health. That's the most important thing that I want to share with you guys. It does not have to be that. All right. So the next thing I want to share with you guys, and I think this is a really, really important point, and that is learning from setbacks. We've all gotten setbacks before, right? It happens. And so learning from setbacks is not something you think you can do, but really you can do if you embrace it properly. Setbacks are nothing more than lessons in a disguise, right? Embrace them as part of growth. When we don't try to fight them, when we try to learn from them, when we're open to them, it's like this epiphany moment happens. And this epiphany takes us from like point A to point B. And it's like, oh my gosh, this is like so incredibly amazing, right? I think that's really important. And so hopefully you'll be able to recognize that growth point from just knowing that a setback is just something we're at right now. It's not something I'm going to be at for the rest of my life, but it's something that I'm at right at this given moment in time. That's all it's about. It's something that is about that moment in time. All right. It's not something that's going to go on forever because you can change it, right? You can change it. And then that's a very important thing to realize is that you can actually change it. Another important point that I want to bring up tonight I think it's a really important one, and that's the rising from the ashes. Rising from the ashes like a phoenix, rising from adversity, from challenges. And when you do this, you'll become stronger than you ever were before. I'll give an example. When I broke my tib and fib over 8 years ago, roughly, when I rose from the ashes, pathetically speaking, um, I actually, with my cast, I actually got a bone that fused together stronger than any of the other bones in my body. So I think that was pretty good. So rising from the ashes is not always easy. It's not always comfortable. But when we do rise and we like say, hey, wait a minute, myself, I can actually do this. I can do what I want to do. Those are the important things in life. All right. That is really the most important thing that I want to share with you. And if you can appreciate that, well, your whole life is going to change literally before you. Your whole life will change literally before you. And I think that's something that, a lot of people maybe don't realize or maybe don't understand, but it's something that I believe has a strong, strong potential in everyone's life. I mean, that's absolutely the truth. So don't be afraid of rising from the ashes, from becoming that phoenix, because even though it might seem challenging, nobody ever got the success by not experiencing a few challenges, right? I remember, ladies and gentlemen, it is very, very key. All right. It is key in supporting others. You might say, gee, why should I support others? What have they done for me? It's crucial because we lift each other up, and during the hard times, together we grow and we empower ourselves to become better versions of ourselves. I'll give you an example. So when things are going down, right, and things are wrong, and you're like, oh my gosh, there's no way that I can actually do this. When you support others with a similar challenge, you start realizing, wait a minute, they have the same problem. I'm having that same challenge. We can all learn from each other. So I think those are very important things that we have to start to come together with and have that purpose. I think that's really important thing. I want to share with you, ladies and gentlemen, that rebuilding with purpose is my next point, and it's very important that you rebuild with purpose. When you have a hardship, you build your life with intention and purpose. So let me give you an example, and perfect one here with StreamYard. So, I had been married to StreamYard for many, many years, doing professional streaming and radio. And I have another program that does my professional live radio shows, but it's a little different than this. So I had been married to StreamYard for so many years, love the product. And then, like I said to you, StreamYard was sold. So StreamYard, just to kind of go on the story here, StreamYard was originally developed by two guys. Okay, and so the thing is, they had this vision, right? George and Dan were the co-founders of StreamYard. They met in a university engineering program and had been building stuff together ever since. And every once in a while, they'd play hockey too. And they thought that live streaming is a great medium for storytelling, and telling great stories benefits for everyone. I think a lot of people get scared with this. Okay, a lot of people can get scared with this. So why did it was basically, like I said to you, it was George and Dan. So why did George and Dan sell StreamYard? Well, unfortunately, they fell off the face of the earth right now, which is really, really sad, because their whole purpose, their whole mission for doing something really moved me, but they weren't true to the passion. And that's a big problem, ladies and gentlemen, a very, very big problem. StreamYard was sold. Um, And so, some other people were over in the UK. It turned out that Streamer was acquired by a company recently after it was sold, a company called Bending Spoons. Now, I know what you're thinking. Bending Spoons, isn't that something from the Matrix? Well, I was thinking the exact same thing. So instead, a lot of people were panicking at the beloved live streaming tool being sold. Some people did research, and information is power, right? And some people um, didn't know that Bending Spoons recently scooped up StreamYard, no pun intended. And the thing is, it's not great. Now, they said they're a pretty cool company. They're young, with 75% of their team being millennials, and they're all about creating great high tech products. But I have to tell you something, all right? When I pay money for a product or a service, I expect to get service. So one of the big challenges that happened, and this is why I'm telling this story, which is about rebuilding with purpose. So when I think I was traveling, and then we've had some issues in the last year. You guys have known where streams have gone down, we've lost connection, and this has happened. We've never had this happen over 3-4 years doing this. And I think it's just my internet, but it's not. My internet's like a 1G or higher, and it wasn't that. So I was traveling, and you guys know I'm in Florida right now. It's actually my parents' 60th anniversary this September 19th, 2024. And I was trying to log into StreamYard. And the way they do it is you go to their website, you put your email in, and then they send you a 6-digit code, which comes through Twilio, which is actually under SendGrid. So they're like a commercial email sender. So I had this problem happen to me before where I didn't get a code. So I figured, okay, no problem. This has happened before. I will go on to their chat site and ask for help and get a code. And usually it took about 2 or 3 minutes, but then I would get a code and we could move on. Unfortunately, they do not provide 24-hour support. Not only do they not provide 24-hour support, they don't even provide live chat support anymore. So I put a ticket in. I got to Florida. I flew in Sunday morning. And I tried to connect to StreamYard for my show on Sunday night. Well, it turns out I couldn't. So I said the show has to go on, right? So I use Manicam, which is another tool I use for doing different types of overlays on videos and stuff like that. So I said, well, we're just going to record the show, and then we're going to save it, upload it to my server back in the office, and then schedule for a rebroadcast. Well, that worked fine. I did that for a couple nights. But as I opened the ticket on Sunday, Monday happened, and Tuesday morning came, and they basically said to me on Monday night that I could change my email or something else. That was a very terrible excuse. They said it was my email server. It was nothing like that. Nothing had hit our server. And then today, I got an email telling me they don't provide live support. They don't even provide chat support. So I decided that since our plan was supposed to renew in just a couple days on the 23rd, that I should dump StreamYard and I should be done with this platform because it's been having a lot of issues. I got to tell you, when George and was it George and George and Dan, I believe it was, when they had the company, it was pretty amazing. Okay. But StreamYard is not so great since it was sold. I tried leaving messages on LinkedIn. It's terrible. They sold out. Okay. And they also now own Meetup and this AI-powered photo app called Remedy and some other stuff. And there are a lot of disadvantages, unfortunately. It's not integrating with third-party streaming platforms very easy. There's no built-in analytics. This company is in Milan, Italy. And it was only acquired. This was in May 9, 2024. That's the last time I had a problem. I don't call them very often. But it's funny because right around that time was when I had a big hiccup with StreamYard. It had me very concerned. So what I'm trying to tell you is that I had been very comfortable with using it for a very long time. And I figured there was nothing I could do, but I said, I have to do something, right? There's got to be some other solutions. So I started researching, looking at other solutions. A lot of them were just crap. So did some researching. And finally, after doing a lot of researching and being away, I decided that I was going to pull the plug and say, hey, look, we're not going to renew StreamYard anymore. We're going to cancel subscription so they don't recharge me. And today, I'm going to sign up with this new provider, which happened to be Restream. Again, there are some things that are different, but there are some things that StreamYard doesn't do. So my point is that I could have just cried and complained, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to do my show? I even got my show out with those adversities that I had because I couldn't get to StreamYard. But one thing I don't do is when somebody, hits me below the belt, I don't give them a second chance to hit me even above the belt. So I got to say to you guys, StreamYard, Bending Spoon, whatever you guys are, you don't provide support that we in America expect. In fact, when I went to file a claim with the Better Business Bureau, my dispute actually got sent to an office in Delaware because that's how they set it up so they can have a U.S. presence. Then the money kind of gets funneled over to Milan, Italy. So not very happy. If they think it's okay to just respond to people with email, well, then they don't deserve my business. Some of my friends in the streaming industry have been using Restream. I didn't want to do it because I was happy. And all in all, they just seem to be a lot more stable of a platform. Restream will cost me a little more money, but in the long and short of it, I believe it's good. They also have live chat support. And so my resilience and rebuilding with purpose, which is to continue to create good content and not be dependent on platforms that are going to hamper me, like StreamYard. They're great. And there's some good companies that use StreamYard, but they're just not what I need anymore. And sometimes a platform, sometimes a person, sometimes the situation is not what it was. So whenever you do something, you need to rebuild with purpose, and that's what I did. I had to find a way, and I rebuilt. So thinking about one other point I want to bring to you about tonight, which is the whole concept. And that concept, ladies and gentlemen, actually is very, very important. And that is to do this. You know what that is? That is to celebrate your personal growth. So my personal growth was that I did some research. I found a streaming platform. This is the first stream I've done on the platform. So far, it's been going really, really well. And there were some challenges, yes, getting it going. But I think when we get challenges, it teaches us that there are other things that are actually better than what we're currently comfortable with. And again, the vision of Dave and Dan, the question was, why did George sell StreamYard? And if I have to tell you, I think it's just all about money. Okay. And that's what it comes down to. And so, they have these weekly, let's say, town meetings. And I just knew that when they, got a taste of the money, that they were going to be, they were not going to be around anymore. And so I have to tell you, I lost a lot of respect for those two people. I know they probably got a lot of money, but this service has gone from, nothing. It's like you can't even get them. There's no phone. They respond to email whenever they feel like it. So I've decided to drop StreamYard. We've also decided to drop Twitch. It's just not working for us. And really do appreciate you guys hanging on with us. We're working on creating more reels that are going to be short versions of the long version. So we're doing a lot of things. But you got to celebrate the growth you have. You got to celebrate how the adversities turned into things that you learned. Even if there were things you didn't want to know, I didn't really want to flip to a new streaming platform now, especially while I'm traveling. But I did it. And it's a lot better than what I expected. So I think that's a really good thing. It looks like we got a comment in here. Yes, exactly, Brad. I'm going to pop that on the screen here. So Brad has a very good comment. We learn more when we struggle than when things are easy. Absolutely, Brad. A face in the past. Haven't heard from you in a while. Somebody I got to know online during the COVID time. Thanks for your comment. And yes, when we struggle, I don't want to say when we have pain, but when we have discomfort, we start to realize we don't want to go back doing it again. How many of you guys out there have ever, I'm sure you've never done this. How many of you ever went to, let's say, your car, you're driving it, and all of a sudden you get the E light. But you're like, you know, it's got 20 miles, it's got 50 miles, it's got 30 miles. And you know what happens? You drive and then suddenly you run out of gas. Now, I'll be honest, this has happened to me a couple times. But when this happened, it happened a couple times. The last time it happened, I said, you know what? This is not happening anymore because I owe it to myself to treat myself better. That's important. Very, very important. And so, with it being important, I think that people don't really realize this. They don't realize, what's happening or why things are happening. So, when things are hard, realize that that lesson will get you to focus your way. So, what got me to think it wasn't the fact that I could just get somebody easy to come out and fill the tank. That wasn't the issue. What got me to really do it was there was one time when I couldn't get the service that I had for my car to come out and do it. So it was going to be several hours. So I decided to walk. It was about, I don't know, maybe a mile or so. And I went to the nearest gas station. I had to buy one of those gas cans, the plastic ones, fill it up, then bring it back to my car. And I said, you know what? This is it. No more. So when I had got enough pain, enough discomfort, I said, you know what? That's not happening anymore in my life. A lot of people don't get the discomfort. So they don't realize that there's no point in going any further. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, you know who I am? Well, if you don't, I'm going to tell you. I am Mr. John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It has been such a privilege, a pleasure, an honor to be with you this fantastic day as we mark the first day we start streaming with Restream, September 17, 2024. And we're ending just around 9:21 p.m. And I am really starting to love Restream and how unglitchy it's been. I want to thank you guys for hanging with us and checking all my content out. Be sure to scan that QR code at believemeachieve.com and check out all my favorite inspiring information and content that will help you become a better version of yourself. I'll see you guys real soon. All right, be well.